games.com.
Hello everyone, my name is Mick Hess, your host for Roving with the Arts here on KSJE 90.9. Please join me every weekday starting at 9 a.m. for the chance to hear full-length, unabridged opera, ballet, symphonic, and chamber music. I'll share news of local concert events that you may be interested in attending, background information about some of the greatest musical compositions ever written. Tune in weekdays 9 to 10 a.m. and Wednesday from 9 to 10:30.
You're tuned to KSJE, Farmington, New Mexico, 90.9 FM. And now 103.3 FM, K277CR, Durango, Colorado.
Hi, welcome to Cop Shop. It's Nicole Brown. I'm the PIO for the Farmington Police Department. And with me, as always, is Chief Steve Heavy.
How you doing today, Nicole?
I'm good. How are you?
Outstanding.
Yeah.
And we're doing a little different setup here today.
We are.
We got a room full with us. A couple of Farmington's finest firefighters are here, so I'm standing today, which will prevent me the slouching or the hand in the head thing that has drawn fire from some of my fans.
Well, we just really love to see your face.
Yeah.
Like the whole face. Just
well, you're getting to see the whole thing now.
But we have really great guests today that we're excited about.
And we're going to talk about some important topics today, and it'll be a big weekend. But we'll start off. How are things going at the PD? What do we have going on at PD?
Oh my gosh, we have a lot going on. I'm so excited that we're kind of getting back to doing community activities. So we have our community discussion on September 22nd coming up. It'll be at the Civic Center from 6 until 7:30, and we're just going to kind of talk about, I feel like 2020, a lot happened, not just COVID. There was so much else that went on that really affected policing and our communities, and so it's just kind of an opportunity to touch base and talk about those topics a little bit further. Scott Michlin's going to be our moderator. We're super excited about that. And we're
hoping it'll be in person.
We'll see how things change on September 15th, if they do at all, and we'll go from there.
Which is the governor's next update to the mask order, or the public health orders may be amended for stricter or less strict, and so we'll see. We hope to do it in person and come on out and ask questions, and let's have some dialogue about how your police department's doing and why we're doing some of the things that we are doing. And then after that, we've got our National Night Out coming up.
Yeah, again. October 5th. I missed it in 2020. We missed having it. It felt like I didn't have anything to do in the fall because I didn't have that to plan. So we're really excited for it this year, and it'll be an outdoor event, and we're excited about that. Come on out. Free, family-friendly night out against crime.
Yes. How can you go wrong with that?
Right.
So this is September 10th today, and day before a major anniversary, September 11th of 2001, of course, where the attacks on the World Trade Center, the Pentagon building, and theoretically on the Capitol building, if it hadn't been for the passengers on the last plane. But it's a day that the fire department, it means a lot to the fire department, it means a lot to the police, but it really meant a lot to fire through the years. Many police officers were killed, and that number was dwarfed by the number of firefighters that were killed when the towers collapsed. And so we have two firefighters here that are devoted to keeping the memory alive of 9/11, and they've been helping the department run its 9/11 Stair Climb, which I've done a couple of times, and I think you had to take a year off from that last year, just like we did with National Night Out, and so it's back. So welcome, gentlemen. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved with this, and then wow us with I don't know. You guys are singers, I heard, or
Yeah, well, so my name is Phil Logan. I'm with the Farmington Fire Department.
My name is Eric Ivey. I'm also with the Farmington Fire Department.
So I believe the first stair climb we did was in 2017. You know, it was it's something that's not unknown to the fire world. There's a lot of people that go to FDIC every year and do that stair climb, but it commemorates the fallen firefighters of 9/11, and it benefits the mission of the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation.
So it's kind of a fundraiser that goes to survivors,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, and so the National Fallen Firefighter Foundation was actually established in 1992. And so obviously after 9/11, it became a much bigger ordeal and became more of an effort. And it's a great organization that does a lot. One of the biggest things they do is in Emmitsburg, Maryland, they have the memorial wall. So every line of duty death, firefighters get put on that wall the following, or the year after their death. And so obviously that's supported by the NFFF. And then it also, they pay for the family to go out there for that ceremony. So that's one of the big things that the NFFF does. But they also do a bunch of other things also. Obviously, they support the families of fallen firefighters in many ways. So in grief counseling, in scholarships and funding for the families. But they also do a tremendous amount of research for cancer research and prevention of line of duty deaths. So they've got a big mission that they're accomplishing. So all of these funds, this is one of their biggest fundraisers, is the stair climbs throughout the country. So that's a big deal for them, how to do it. And then another big thing that they do that's worth mentioning is when a local department has a line of duty death, they send representation out to help the department work through that line of duty death, so that it's done in an honorable and meaningful way for everybody.
No, that's very good. I don't even know if police have that, frankly.
I think there's a couple of different organizations, but I don't know if it's consolidated well.
Yeah.
Like,
Or if they'd respond to the scene to help a department through it, because that's a traumatic event.
It is.
You know, officer gets shot in the line of duty. You don't have a lot of experience with it, and then you kind of fumble around with it. So that's great that they are supporting you guys behind the scenes. So are you guys both climbing tomorrow?
I assume we will climb.
Outstanding.
You know, we try to, in the roles that we usually take with the stair climb, you know, it's pretty busy, but
Oh yeah, it's hard.
we try to get out there and, you know, we might not do all of our laps at one time, but, you know, we definitely try to get through all of them. But, you know, it's a pretty awesome event here, and honestly, the community is a huge part of that. I think last stair climb we did in 2019 was among like the top 5 or 10 in the whole nation of these stair climbs in raising money.
That's
wow.
outstanding.
And that's competing, you know, with big cities like Indianapolis,
Even Denver's a big one.
They have a big one in the Packers Stadium, I believe. And
Lambeau Field.
Lambeau Field, yeah. And so,
That's a good one.
but yeah, I think.
You hear that, Scott? I heard it. Thank you.
But and one thing that we definitely try to do is, that we ensure happens is, we tell all the participants that their money is going directly to this cause, and to this date, we've made sure that sponsors are what's putting the event on. So when you register for this event and you raise extra funds, whether you're going out talking to other businesses yourself or friends and family, every dollar that you raise is going to support the cause of the NFFF.
That's great. So there's a couple of things that listeners can do. One is tomorrow morning. I think your registration starts at 7 a.m. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
So you could come down. You could register yourself. It's $35 to walk. You can either walk as an individual or as part of a team. If you had a team, and I'm walking with Farmington Police Department team, but you could come down, pay your $35. You get a shirt for entering it, and then you guys are going to tell them, here's what you're going to do. Now, how many? I think we expanded the Ricketts Park, so I don't think you have to walk as many flights as we were having to do when it first started. But how many do you have to walk in order to simulate this?
So we do kind of a serpentine where you up and down the stairs, and it's 6 laps this year. So in the
6
past it's been 12.
It has been 12.
The addition of it cut it down to 6 laps.
That doesn't mean that there's less steps. That just means that there are higher steps.
Yep.
So,
Correct.
but you can do that, and I'm sure you guys would love to see more people come out and participate. But you could also just come out and cheer on those who are going to be out there. There's I know, Phil, you're working on a video intro for the event, and there is going to be a lot of things, and you can buy a T-shirt yourself and support the foundation. Otherwise, you can just get online and you can find teams to donate to. Farmington Police has its own team that you can donate to, but I'm sure you guys do too.
Yes, and of course you can just get on and donate directly to the NFFF as well. So it all goes to the same funds. And like Phil said, every dollar that you donate goes directly to the NFFF. So we're not taking funds away to buy your T-shirt or to pay for event insurance or anything like that. 100% of your dollars goes to the NFFF. So.
And the NFFF is National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Actually, you even got it on your shirt, so yes. So that's the national group. So even if they went and donated to the national group, you guys would still get credit for it as far as it being a local donation, or how would that work?
If they did it through our website, which they can do, through our website.
Oh, very good. All right.
And so, just maybe listeners don't realize why do they have to do 6 laps? Like, what is all of that?
Sure, that's a good question. So when the towers were hit, they were hit around the 110th floor, and so it's the equivalent of the stairs that the firefighters had to climb to be able to try and get to those people that needed to be rescued. So it's the equivalent of the number of steps of climbing 110 flights of stairs.
Well, it's the times I've done it, it's actually a somber event. And I don't know if you can do this year, but they gave you a name tag for one of the firefighters or police officers that was killed that day. So you're kind of walking for that person, and it drives home. This isn't just a charity fundraiser for some faraway group. This is actually this guy actually was trying to do this at the World Trade Center and died trying to do it. So I thought it was an excellent event. I think Scott's got a video queued up that you've been working on.
This is I believe he's been playing an ad, that we've had in the past, but yeah, it's just kind of highlighting the venue.
So if you're online, you can see it. Well, I think we're carrying it on Farmington PD, but you also could look at KSJE, and they've got this video promoting it. That's for this year's 2021.
Oh.
Yeah.
What else do you want to show? The other one?
Sure.
The other video?
Yeah, if you'd like to. So the other video is an intro to this year's opening ceremony video. I've been pleased to get pretty good feedback from that, and it's usually a pretty powerful reminder of the events that went on that day. But in this particular clip, it has some radio traffic between a flight attendant on American Flight 11, the first plane to strike the North Tower, and the air traffic control, as well as the other agencies that deal with air traffic that were involved that day.
Sure.
And also it begins with one of the voicemails of a victim of one of the flights left for his family before the crash. So. Yeah, so it's got some subtitles here, but this is a piece from the voicemail that was left behind. I try to find some good footage of the towers beforehand, and right now it's unfortunately I don't have any subtitles or anything, but this would be the portion where the flight attendant is calling, letting them know that the plane has been hijacked. This air traffic controller, Joseph Cooper, he's calling his higher up saying, hey, we need to scramble some F-16s. We need some help up here. Mm-hmm. I think we have a hijacked plane headed for New York. And right here in this blank spot, the reservation specialist with American is trying to get a hold of the air traffic controller once again. And yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's the only footage of only known footage, I believe, of the first tower being struck by Flight 11.
So this is, that's very famous footage, and I didn't even really know where it came from, but one of my captains had me start watching this series. It's a limited series called 9/11: A Day in America. Have you guys seen it?
Is that the newer?
It's on National Geographic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's frankly, it's fantastic. I think it's 6 parts. I'm 4 parts into it. And this footage was it was a camera crew that was with a battalion chief, NYFD. I don't know why they did that day, but they just happened to, and they're standing there in the street investigating a gas leak, and they just hear the plane coming over, and so the camera's looking down where the battalion commander is actually trying to determine if there's a gas leak coming out of the grate, and he pans up, and there's the plane, and that's the like you said, the only footage I've ever seen of the first plane hitting the tower, and it was just purely by chance. And so it starts with that, and it follows the battalion commander, then races to the scene, and for a while he's the ranking guy organizing the rescue efforts, and some of the stuff in there, which when I talked with you about 9/11 and my experience with it, you knew that people were jumping out of it. What I didn't know was A, how many, and then B, how fast it happens. So they are just there. They're not even starting to head up yet. They're still trying to get organized, and you just hear loud bangs like somebody's throwing a hand grenade, and that's jumpers landing on top of the building, and the firemen are just staring up at it, feeling like I felt when I was watching it. You just felt so powerless. You couldn't help those people. So it's an outstanding event. If you have National Geographic, it's on National Geographic, but I found it on Hulu.
Yeah.
And so that's where I've been watching. It's called 9/11: A Day in America. And some of the stuff which you even alluded to, they have an interview with a female pilot who was one of the F-16s that scrambled over Washington, D.C. And at that time, our planes were not armed. They were designed to repel foreign threats that were coming in. We always had plenty of warning a foreign threat was coming. So the planes weren't armed. But they knew that they had the plane that was eventually brought down in Pennsylvania. They couldn't get hold of it, and they'd had 3 attacks already. And so they scrambled these 2 pilots, and the pilots are told, they're going to bring the plane down. And so she says she was the wingman, and her lead says he'll take the cockpit, which means he's going to ram his plane into the cockpit of our plane, and she's expected to then ram her plane into the back of the aircraft. And she says, first of all, it's a suicide mission, but secondly, we're going to kill Americans, who we're supposed to be protecting, who we took an oath to. It was just stunning, and for any of you that either were too young to watch it all, or you maybe didn't see it all for whatever reason, it is an outstanding series, and like I said, I'm 4 into it, and it's been so sobering. Don't watch it with a big smile on your face, because you'll be stunned. But it does remind you of what we went through as a country, at that time, and why this event then means so much, because it's showing the firefighters queued up to start climbing up the stairs. It shows the command running when the first building collapses, and then trying to get organized again. It shows them when they're in the first building and the second tower gets hit. Okay, we have the same number of resources. We got to split the resources up and devote some over there. So it was just epic.
Well, and that initial footage is really eerie to watch, because that you're seeing the last moments of people's like those firefighters' lives, and so it's very eerie, and it's just a lot. Like, be prepared. I highly recommend to watch it, but be prepared.
You have been watching it.
Yeah, it's
Good.
very heavy, and it is. They do it well, and they honor everyone really well.
No, they do. The interviews are great, including a couple with some firefighters. The battalion commander's still alive, so he's being interviewed. And then another firefighter who saves a number of people in a hotel that gets damaged right next to it. So if you haven't had a chance to see that, I strongly recommend it. And it'll remind you of why we went into Afghanistan, why it was important that we find the terrorists that did this and not let them do it again. And it'll remind you why we're doing this on our 20-year anniversary, to remember those men and women who sacrificed their lives to try and help other people, even as even as other people were determined to try and kill them. So.
Yeah, it's
Well, in that that scene that you were talking about, the thing that impressed me is as soon as that plane hit that building, every one of those firefighters, there's probably, I don't know, 10 to 15, 20 in the street that they just immediately went to work. No one had to tell them. They immediately went to work.
Yep.
And then and I think as we watched that footage originally, I personally felt very helpless. I don't know what I could have done, but I wanted to be there. I wanted to be there to help. And so to be able to honor, and I think we forget the amount of life that was lost, and not just that day, but subsequently because of that. I mean, we talk about the 3,000 civilians that died that day, but there's another 6,000 that were injured, seriously injured, and then the number of deaths caused by that, both from those injuries as well as cancer from the people that were working there or living around there. So yeah, it's a big deal to remember. And even, I mean, there's 90 countries that had in the world that had people who died during 9/11. So it reaches out and touches a lot of people. So it's definitely an event worth memorializing and remembering. And then those next couple of days, everybody was very much stood up, and we will never forget. And I think as time has gone by, it's a little easier to forget. So these are, I feel like, important events to remember.
It really is, I think, and I'm so proud that we live in a place where you guys hold one, and we do that every year, and it's so great.
No, me too. I felt the same thing when you're watching the firemen and the bodies are landing up there and they're just sitting there. They completely feel helpless. And that was absolutely how I felt. And I was a cop back then, but in Anchorage, so far away, you could do nothing to influence any of it. So there was that feeling. But the days afterwards, and we'll kind of end with this, because to me this is the worst part of where we are as a country right now. The days after it were amazing, in that everyone bonded together. I mean, we were all Americans at its core. And when you're watching the series, they've got people on the street that are watching televisions, and it's blacks, it's whites, it's Asians, they're Americans. And they're all gathered around watching, or there's just from New Jersey. I didn't even really realize it. I mean, you can stand in New Jersey and you can see the Twin Towers, and so these people are coming out into the street and they're staring at these two huge buildings that they've looked at for years, and they're on fire and the smoke's going, and they don't even know yet how bad it is. But it's all races, it's all creeds, and we're all Americans suffering together. And I'm so disappointed, really, in the divisiveness that we have in our country today. And so we're going to kind of finish here with an ad that I loved that came out right after that, and it was all about being an American. So we'll close with that, and we'll thank you guys for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us on.
And we'll see you tomorrow, and we'll do a stair climb. We'll try and raise awareness.
Sounds good.
Thanks for being in.
Yeah, thank you.